Hello, folks.
Hi.
Hi, it's Michael and Tina here from Better Yourself 365 for another one of our Better Yourself conversations. And today we're going to talk about how to better your health around the area of actually honoring your boundaries, noticing that you're maybe too busy, and adjusting your schedule so that you can kind of level things off and find a little more balance.
Something that's hard for all of us to do at times.
Something that's hard for all of us. So for the next 15 or so minutes, we're going to be having a conversation about our experience with that and basically, some of our ideas around how you can work on that as a couple or as an individual, as a family. And then we have a little bit of homework that we always give at the end of the session. And if there's, we'd love to see some comments below for people who also are thinking about this topic of adjusting your schedule and trying to take control of your schedule because the busyness has gotten a little bit too much and you need to pull back.
Yeah. So this is a topic that's hard because we were talking about this earlier, and it's like we wear our busyness as a badge of honor. It's like, oh, the more busy we are, that means that the more we're doing stuff and we're not lazy and we're doing the right things, and we wear this as a badge of honor.
Yes, society rewards people who are active and busy and doing things and checking things off your list.
Yeah, and when you ask people, so how you doing? Oh, we're so busy. Like, it's the first thing that rolls
Hooray,
out.
we're so busy.
At the same time, we recognize that it's hard to be that busy, but when we're really being honest with ourselves, there is something that we're gratifying. We feel gratified on some level to say that we're busy.
That's right.
So that's the slippery slope around this topic, because on one level it's good that you're active and keeping active, and society rewards that. At the same time, health-wise and relationship-wise, which is our two areas that we focus on in our business, you have to really be careful with that.
Yeah.
And, trying to juggle everything around work and the kids' schedule and trying to have some family time and some couples time and taking care of your health and, being there for your family and friends. And it can get quite overwhelming. And we are the only ones in control of regulating that busy state in our lives. So, we see this all the time with couples coming in through our offices. Often that's one aspect that they don't even recognize, that they've gotten slowly swept into the busyness stage of their life, and it's almost like it feels like they're powerless in that.
Yeah, this is the way it has to be.
Right. There's no, okay, well, we just need to survive this, and that's not the healthy part, right? Because it can start wreaking havoc on your own health.
Yeah.
And you start to not be able to be there as much for your partner. Often the couple's side of things is what slips away first.
Yeah, because we move all of our energy towards those things that are really critical, so whether it's getting the kids, dressed and ready for school and getting to work on time and making sure the house is clean and the meals are made.
Kids' homeworks are done, and their activities are they're at their tournaments and they're at their practices.
And then you sit down and it's 9 o'clock and you could sit down with your spouse, or you could go on Facebook and listen to someone's video, someone's fancy video like this, and before you know it's 10:30, it's time for bed, and then we just repeat.
Right. And I mean, this is something that every couple faces on some level or another in our society. Was it always like this? Probably not the same way. This is a reality that couples of this generation have to face, and it doesn't mean that we're doomed by it. But it does mean that sometimes there's some hard decisions to make. So even just as recently, like, this has been something ongoing for us that we've had to deal with in our lives, because we're two kind of people that like to be busy. We like to take on a lot, and we have to gauge that because we've gotten in trouble in the past at times. Yeah. Individually and together as a couple.
Yeah, being too busy where you're starting to get tired, you're starting to get worn out, and then you don't feel good, but you also feel like I can't stop because the hamster wheel keeps rolling, and we're used to this now, and it's really hard to pull back from it. So it really requires you to make a tough choice sometimes to back off from that busyness and honor what your body or what your mind or what your spouse is saying, and to actually slow down, maybe take some things off your plate. And for us, for me and Tina, we're essentially working two jobs both since we started this company
not even a year ago.
Not even a year ago. And at that point, COVID really had forced us to slow down because it had taken some things off of our plate that used to be there, and now they weren't. But now what we're noticing is that society is adjusting to living with COVID, which has brought a lot of things that used to be off our plate back on our plate. But now we also have a company that we have to run. So now we're feeling very busy, even busier than we were at the beginning when we started our company.
Right, because now like the kids are back in school full time, and so their workload is there for us to kind of keep an eye on. They also have all their activities that are back now with the tournaments and the traveling involved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a lot. So, what I was going to talk about today was that I have been sensing too busy, that sense of too busy. So I approached Tina, and we were having conversations about how can we adjust our schedule so we can honor our need to recover, because we as humans have a need to find some kind of a balance. We can't just go all the time. We do need some quiet, slow, reflective recovery time.
Yeah.
So I approached Tina and said, let's take a look at the business and see if there's anything we can adjust in our business for us to take, maybe reduce or not as many, or, even kind of change the way we were doing things a little bit. And at the beginning, it was hard actually for you to want to even have that conversation, wasn't it?
It was, because normally I'm the one that kind of gauges that busyness part, and I'm the one kind of pulling you down and saying, okay. But this time you did it, and it was like, oh, I don't know if I'm ready to kind of slow that piece down. I was afraid of doing it, and it would have repercussions on the business since it's a brand new business. But, I knew deep down, I kind of came along because I knew that the fact that you were telling me you needed this, I really knew that you were feeling it, and I had to come along with you, because that's the pact that we made together, that we were going to keep ourselves in check with our pace of life. Right?
Yeah, because sometimes it's hard for us to notice our physical state, our mood, how we're doing. So it's important for our partner sometimes to be looking out for us and noticing, you look like you're stressed, and maybe let's have a conversation on what you can do to feel better. Mm-hmm. And so sometimes it's our job to notice our partner stuff, and sometimes it's our job, sometimes we can just notice it ourselves.
Yeah.
So when I approached you with that, that was hard for you to but eventually you did agree that.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. And we came up with a plan that felt, because you heard my fear around it, and we came up with a plan that wasn't too drastic that I was afraid would have repercussions on the business.
Yeah.
And so this is part of the decision that we made, actually, is to lessen the amount of Facebook Lives that we do, and sometimes change the format to accommodate more our busy schedule. Like this weekend, we were in a tournament on the weekend, so it was Halloween, so it was hard to kind of...
Yeah, a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, hard to film at the time we wanted. So decisions like that, right? That you can start talking about when there's an openness to creating that space to talk about the schedule.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because there's a book out there called The Minimalist, and their philosophy is less but better. Yeah. So less but better. So when we if it's more is better, then now we're trapped into the loop, and it's Groundhog Day every day where you're busy, and that's the only way you have success. But if you sometimes can believe that if we have a little less, it frees us up to have a little more recovery, and maybe that actually makes us better.
Right. We have more of that energy and that that space for creativity and newness. Yeah.
So, honey, how would you summarize kind of the conversation in terms of what people can take away, some of the tips that we can give them?
Yeah, what's required to do this, right? We see it kind of on 4 levels. So first, there is that sense of commitment you need to make to yourself to gauge your own body's reaction to the pace of your of your life, and to really check in and say, okay, how am I doing with this? So making a pact to yourself to respect those boundaries, as you were putting it earlier.
Yeah.
And a pact with your partner too,
Mm-hmm.
because you need each other, like Michael was saying first. So that's the first thing I would say.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. And the second thing is that in order for us to accept to slow down, we need to remember that slowing down does not mean failing, or that there's anything wrong with you for not being able to do it all. I think for women especially,
I agree.
they hold a lot of shame around that. You know, if they have to do less, so they can take care of themselves. Excuse me, take care of themselves a little bit more, have more space for themselves, or right? They carry a sense of guilt around that. And I'm not saying just women, but you know, I tend to see that a lot with women coming through my offices. So you have to remember that that's not equal failing, or that you're doing something wrong. That's actually a strength. If you can be one of those people that check in on how your body's responding to the pace of your life, that's a strength that you'll have forever.
Yeah, so as a result, you might notice, I'm not feeling great. Then you take a look at your schedule, and then you adjust accordingly. And we're trying to find some kind of sense of balance, or not too much, but not too little. Yeah. But I think we do err on the side of too much. So what you're talking about is tuning in and giving yourself permission to say, I'm going to take some things off my plate.
Permission, that's the right word right there. Yeah. And the third one is, when you do take a look at your schedule, go back to remembering what's really important to you. Right? There's things that would be nice to get done. Maybe we feel like we have to get done. You know, like I remember at some point in my life that there's different periods of transition through finding the balance that, it's not even finding a balanced state, it's balancing constantly. And I realized at some point that my balance was always off because I had these expectations about cleanliness that really, who cares? Like at the end of the day, I realized, like, is that really that important to me?
And you're not talking about having a shower.
No, I talked about the house. Thank you.
Household cleanliness.
No, the shower still remains. That's a good.
Just make sure we can clarify that.
Yeah, so it's something that I had to adjust, right? Something that I thought was important to me. All of a sudden, after kids and all that, it's like, is that really that important? Am I going to wear myself out because I have this status of what I want, cleanliness to be in the house? And so different things like that. You have to come back to what's important to you. And for most people, or, you know, if we really dig deep, even though we might enjoy our work and enjoy certain things that we're involved in, at the end of the day, is that truly what's the most important to us? Like, is that what we want to have written on our tombstone when we die? And say, oh, Tina spent all this time cleaning her house and working really hard at her job. Or was it that she was a great mom and wife? You know, like, is that spending time with making sure I have time to play those roles?
Yeah. To do the things that really matter.
That matter to me, right?
And you can't do everything all the time. So we know that it kind of fluctuates depending on certain things come into your life, and you're busier. You need to back off from other things. We just can't keep everything all the time. And that's what we're talking about, is adjusting your schedule so that you can create space for you sometimes, so that you don't get too burned out or too tired or too busy for too long.
Right. And the last thing is related to what you're saying, is that when you're doing that, when you're giving yourself permission to adjust your schedule, remember that most of those things are temporary, right? Maybe it's just because you're going through a certain stage right now that there's other things that are taking priority, and you have to adjust and, you know, accept that, okay, well, maybe I'll do a little bit less this, a little bit less that, so that I can manage what's really important to me at all times, right? That piece is never neglected. And then my energy and my replenishing myself, right, as your person, your health, is always priority, because you need that to maintain the rest of the stuff that you're doing.
Yeah, I like to say that analogy on the airplane, you know, when the oxygen level drops and the mask pops down, you have to put it on yourself first. And sometimes that looks like adjusting your schedule. So that's what we're going to, that's what we're really encouraging you to do today, is to take a look, do a little scan of your own self, and ask yourself, am I too busy And have I been skipping over the things that refill me or recharge me? And if that's the case, how do I adjust to that? What kind of a schedule change do I need to make, or a conversation with my partner, or a conversation with your kids, or reducing your expectations, something to give you some space so that you can then go in and do some things for you to fill your energy back up and fill your cup back up so you can curl back into the next day, because we know there's going to be another day, there's going to be another week, and we have lots of things that we want to do, but we just can't do them all, and we have to be reasonable with what it is we want to do.
Yeah, just make sure you shower, though.
Yes, that's really important. Every day.
That one.
So your homework is to do a scan, see how you're doing, get a gauge for if you're too busy or not, maybe have a conversation with your friend or a partner, and to see what it is that you might be able to adjust to create some space for you, and then use that space to recharge and curl back in. And maybe you want to, that thing you let go, maybe you have room to bring it back, or maybe you're going to actually let it fade away, which would be great too.
So we're going to leave you on that note today, guys. And remember that if you're not familiar with what we do in our business, go to our website, www.betteryourself365.com. And if you like this kind of conversation that we're having, we're calling these Better Yourself 365 conversations, and we hold them live every other week on our Facebook page. However, we also record them and put them on our YouTube channel. So you can subscribe to our YouTube channel, and the link is in the comments, or the information above the video, and you can just subscribe. That way you don't miss any that comes out. So,
and don't be shy to leave a comment about what it's like for you to find that balance, and if you're feeling really busy, and what it is that you might be adjusting in your schedule. Because I think other people might be able to benefit from your experience too.
Absolutely. So until next time, guys, live healthy and love fully.
Yeah. Take care, folks.
Bye-bye. Happy Halloween.